Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows: Salmon, India, Sports Legends, the New Testament, Whacked, and the short form. Player one. Fish ladders help salmon travel upstream over these man-made obstructions. Okay, player one. Correct. Player one. Salmon are members of the same family as the speckled or brook variety of this fish. It's player one. Yeah! Good for you. You again. World Book says this country leads the world in salmon fishing with more than 450,000 tons caught each year. Here's what we wanted. The United States. We return. Weighing up to 100 pounds, this large type of salmon shares its name with a warm, dry wind. Okay, player one. Sorry. The correct response is the Chinook. Player one. When it gets its silvery scales and migrates to the sea for the first time, a young salmon is called this. Yes, player one? Good for you. Hey, you're on the plus side. Please pick again. The international airport in New Delhi bears her name. Here's the response we were looking for. Indira Gandhi. Player one. Jamshedji Natta, an important businessman of this movie capital, used his wealth to enrich it. The correct response is Bombay. You get, as the new leader of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri led it into a war with this neighbor in 1965. Here's the correct response. Pakistan. Player one. The winner of the 1913 Nobel Prize for Literature, Rabindranath Tagore, was born in this former capital in 1861. Here's what we were looking for. Calcutta. Let's go to the Clue Crew for this next clue.
The gesture here typically accompanies this common Indian greeting, from Sanskrit for to bow.
Here's the response we were looking for. Namaste. Player one. Barry Bonds broke this man's home run record of 755. Okay, player one. Nope. Here's the correct response. Hank Aaron. This seven-time Tour de France champ said the New York City Marathon was the hardest physical thing he'd ever done. Here's the correct response. Lance Armstrong. Player one. From 1984 to 1992, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and this man won all the NBA's regular season MVP awards. Here's what we wanted. Magic Johnson. In 1904, he became the first pitcher in the American League to throw a perfect game. An award is named for him. Here's what we wanted. Cy Young. Player one. All right, here with the clue is Kelly.
The Green Bay Packers maintain a replica of the office of this legendary coach known for his commitment to winning.
We're talking about Vince Lombardi. Player one. Jesus grew up in this town in the southern part of Galilee. Player one. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Nazareth. Player 1. In Luke, this angel told Zacharias that his wife Elizabeth would bear a son, and thou shalt call him John. Let's hear it, Player 1. You are correct. Player 1. The book of John records him as saying, "Except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, I will not believe." Yes, Player 1? That's it. Player 1? Jesus was referring to this fisherman when he said, "Upon this rock I will build my church." Yes, Player 1? That's right. Way to go. Please. On the road to Damascus, this future epistle writer was asked by Jesus, "Why persecutest thou me?" Yes, Player 1? Right. Player 1. An anarchist named Bresci killed King Umberto of this country in 1900. Here's what we were looking for. Italy. Player 1. Mexico, 1940. Looks like this former number 2 man under Lenin in Russia got whacked, literally. Here's what we were looking for. Leon Trotsky. Player 1. Brother Ike took a powder as Billy of this family was gunned down at the OK Corral. Here's what we wanted. Clanton. Player 1. Answer? The Daily Double. You are in the lead right now. So, what's your wager? Answer this. This soon-to-be saint was killed by 4 of Henry II's men after excommunicating some bishops and barons. Here's the response we were looking for. Thomas à Becket. Select. Patrice Lumumba helped the Congo gain independence from this country in 1960. He was killed less than a year later. Okay, Player 1. Right. Player 1. Fact. Bench presses build up the pecs, short for these. Player 1. That's correct. Select. The Random House Historical Dictionary of American Slang has an 1896 citation of diff, D-I-F-F, as short for this. Here's what we were looking for. Difference. Player 1. Rad, meaning excellent, was truncated from this. It's Player 1. Hey, you're right. Player 1. The Cosmo Girl doesn't just look good, she can have a convo, short for this. The correct response is conversation. And the last clue for $1,000. One of the perks of my job is knowing that perk, meaning a benefit, is short for this. Yes, Player 1? Good for you. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. And we have 2 daily doubles awaiting you in these categories. The comics. Ethiopian cuisine. Language lab. All of Me. Shakespeare's characters. And American history. This Peanuts character got a sister named Sally in 1959. Player 1? That is correct. Weirdo would be another name for this Dan Ferraro comic that began as a replacement for The Far Side. The correct response is Bizarro. Player 1. Mr. Munster wasn't the subject of this 1975 to 1992 Jim Unger strip. Here's the correct response. Herman. Player 1. In Bob Thave's comic, Frank bums around with this guy. Here's what we wanted. Ernest. Player 1. This edgy Aaron Magruder comic strip debuted in 1996. Here's what we were looking for. The Boondocks. Player 1. Similar to steak tartare, kitfo is a cold ground beef dish that is served this way. Yes, Player 1? Good. Player 1. Tej is a type of this made with honey. Ethiopians think it was once shared by Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. It's Player 1. Yeah! That is correct. For Ethiopian meals, coffee is usually served in these small cups, from the French for half cup. Okay, Player 1. Right. Please. Teff, similar to millet, is a type of this that comes from a plant grown in Ethiopia. Here's what we wanted. Grain. Select it. Answer. The first of the daily doubles. And you're in the lead now. Player 1, give us a wager. Okay, here is the clue. Similar to the Indian ghee, niter kibe is a clarified spice-infused type of this and is used in many dishes. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the correct response. Butter. Player 1. Most languages of Western Europe get their words for read and write from this language's leggere and scribere. Here's what we were looking for. Latin. Player 1. Hochdeutsch is the modern standard form of this language. The correct response is German. Please pick. The pinyin system for writing this language in the English alphabet was officially adopted January 1st, 1979. Here's what we were looking for. Chinese. We return. In French, Hier Henri m'aimait, yesterday Henry loved me, is an example of this flawed past tense. We're talking about the imperfect. Player 1. Douglas Hyde, also known as Ancrethan Ethan, fought to preserve this language and founded a league of the same name. Here's what we wanted. Gaelic. Player 1. With some smarts, you'll know this popular name for the third molars. Player 1? Yeah! Good. Selecting. The body's growth and development are controlled by these substances secreted by the endocrine glands. Okay, Player 1. That's right, way to go. Player 1. Scoliosis affects the spine. Scleritis affects the sclera, found in this body part. Yes, Player 1? Good. You get to stick out your tongue and say ah, and this fleshy bit hanging from the soft palate should move upwards. It's Player 1. Here's the correct response. The uvula. Selecting. These proteins found in blood plasma are classified as alpha, beta, or gamma. It's Player 1. The correct response is globulins. You again, Player 1. There's something in his soul o'er which his melancholy sits on brood is said of this title character. We're talking about Hamlet. Player 1. Friar John gets quarantined, so he never delivers that really important letter that this friar wrote to Romeo. Player 1. Correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1. She's in Troy when she tells Pandarus, "Go hang yourself, you naughty mocking uncle." Here's the correct response. Cressida. We return. Answer. The other daily double. And you're in the lead now. Player 1, give us a wager. All right, here's your clue. This man boasts, "He that knows better how to tame a shrew, now let him speak." Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the correct response. Petruchio. Selected. The appropriately named Servilius is a servant to this title guy of Athens. Here's what we were looking for. Timon. Player 1. When the British approached, the Concord militia didn't know about the skirmish at this place earlier that day. It's Player 1. Good. Player 1. World War I sales of Liberty These, whose posters showed the statue, raised more than $15 billion. Here's the correct response. Bonds. You didn't want to make the mistake of following the South instead of the North Platte on this pioneer trail. It's Player 1. Good. Selected. The U.S. supplied materiel to its allies during World War II through this 1941 Congressional Act. Okay, Player 1. That's correct. Now let's take a look at that $2,000 clue, shall we? Here's Kelly.
This World War II general's private carriage is on display at Wisconsin's National Railroad Museum.
We're talking about Dwight Eisenhower. You will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. This is the Final Jeopardy category for today. Household products. Please enter your wager. All right, players, this is what it comes down to. Here is the Final Jeopardy clue. According to its earliest ads, 0.56% of this product was made up of carbonates, mineral matter, and uncombined alkali. Let's see your response. And that will set you back. We're talking about Ivory soap. Player 1, congratulations to you. We'll see you next time.